Welcome to Wine Library TV. I am your host, Gary Vaynerchuk, and this, my friends, is the Thunder Show, aka the internet's most passionate wine program, and it is a very, very special episode live from Mumbai, India, at Dome on the Roof with the Queen's necklace behind me, and we are going to be tasting Indian wine. As many of you might remember, 2 years ago, I started talking about Indian wine, how I felt there was potential. There is terroir to be found, how we might have wanted to Christopher Columbus it and come to India and try to find it, and that's what we are doing, my friends. And today is another very special day for a whole different reason, because halfway around the world, my beloved New York Jets have scored the prized possession of the NFL in signing for and trading for Brett Favre. So let me tell you right now, your New York Jets are going to win the Super Bowl this year, and I will be popping all of my best wines when that happens. More to talk about Brett when I come back home. But today we're going to focus on 3 different wines. We've got 1 white and 2 reds. And let me tell you, we've been spending some time here, and the culture of wine in India is very fascinating to me. It reminds me quite a bit of what the US market looked like 20 years ago. There is an absolute appetite for more knowledge. And more importantly, I think a very interesting scene going on with the wines coming out specifically from India. Now, I think it is going to be a slow process, and unfortunately, I think it is more government driven than actually driven by the terroir. And what I mean by that is that they have outrageous, if not obnoxious, taxes on exporting wine or importing wine into India. They're doing that to protect the wine market locally. But I promise you, the quickest way to have wines not grow and become better within your own country is to keep the competitors out, because then there will be no advances or incentives to make world-class wine. And my hope is for India to put its stamp on world-class wines over the next decade, but that will not happen if these crazy VATs and taxes continue. But that's my little political stance, and let's get into the wines, because that's what we're really about here on the Thunder Show. About on the Thunder Show. So the first wine is the Tiger Hill 2007 Sauvignon Blanc. This wine rolls in at about 12 US bones once converted. Again, the US market is seeing very little wine from India at this point. We're going to also try to change that as well. So I am looking for some gems. Sula, which is going to be the second wine, is available in the US, and Grover sporadically. But there are a lot more things coming on the scene. More of that discovering over time. Let's see what the Tiger Hill brings to the table. Let's give this wine a sniffy sniff. On the nose, I get a little bit of pear, almost like a pear juice component. It is a little cold, and you know what I think about room temperature. I always prefer my whites warm so I can actually get the aromatics and the flavor profile. But let's give it a little more of a sniffy sniff, because that's what we do. P.S. If you've never been to Mumbai, start saving your pennies. You want to come. And also, while we're at it, Mott, even though you're not here, link up the Thunder Cruise. Lots going on with the Thunder Cruise. You want to be a part of that, sailing away in April of 2009. Lots of wines being confirmed. I'm going to work on some Indian wine to be on the ship as well. Again, pear juice, I get a little bit of like an acacia flower thing going on in the nose, but the nose is limited. Aromatically, this wine, my friends, is challenged. So that is a little bit of a problem. Let's give it a whirl. Subtle fruit, decent acidity. At dinner, I had their Chenin Blanc, which I have to be honest with you, was, for lack of a better word, poor. However, this Sauvignon Blanc effort has a little bit more intrigue going on. It doesn't have the dynamic acid or excitement of flavor that, let's say, New Zealand or South Africa brings to the table. But there is a little bit of a higher acid level on this than their Chenin Blanc. There is a coating of a little bit of nice pear and apple fruit. The finish, unfortunately, is a ghost. It completely disappears, and that's a little bit of a problem. The alcohol content is hanging in there. I wouldn't call it a hot wine. It's pleasant, but it's far from memorable. A little bit boring. Crowd of people, and you don't remember that person? That's what this wine is. So, at the end of the day, solidly well made. Let me give it one more shot. Not appalling. In a blind tasting, a lot of people would actually probably think this is from the Loire Valley, given, probably a poor effort from the Loire Valley Sauvignon Blanc. But all in all, I gotta be honest with you, not atrocious. a little bit disjointed and missing it's got a big hole in the mid palate, which is a real problem. And then with a lack of a finish, now you understand the challenge. But to me, this is a 79-point wine, 80-point wine, which is not a great score. However, definitely showing the potential, the rationale behind my excitement in the next decade. This is far from appalling or all the things, all the misconceptions that all you American viewers have about Indian wine. Don't forget, only 30 years ago, everybody was laughing at California wine. So let's move on. Sula, this is the big brand. This is the Dindori Reserve 2006 Shiraz. This wine rolls in about 15 US bones. Let's give this a rinse and then a whirl as corks continue to fly off. Let's give it a little bit of this and a little bit of that. Let's give this wine a sniffy sniff. So this is a Shiraz. Let's see what's going on. On the nose, there's a little bit of raspberry coming through. I get a little hint of black currant on the nose as well. There's a little funkiness going on here, like a little bit of a black pepper kind of thing, but maybe even like a dirty sock. You know, you've been like wearing the same socks for a week and then you take it off and you smell it. Maybe a little bit of that coming on the nose. And almost a little like a mustard component, which is very awkward towards the tail end. So a very interesting Shiraz. Definitely not your atypical Shiraz that you see out of the Rhone Valley, Australia, or California. This definitely has a little different vibe going on the nose. Let's give it a whirl. Meh. I mean, this is an awkward little wine. Has a little eucalyptus thing going on. Has a little petrol kind of thing going on, almost like you pumped your own gas and you spilt a little on your hand and then you smelled it or tasted it. It's got a little bit of that. I get a little tar, which I like. I like the black currant. The flavor's very muted. To me, this tastes like inexpensive, cheap, jug Australian Shiraz with a little bit of I mean, this is really not a good effort. It's a little dangerous to talk about this brand. It's a powerful brand here, but we've got to keep it real. That's why you watch the show. This to me is a major pass. And considering the last wine, which showed potential, this is discouraging. This wine is awkward, discombobulated, and really just not finding its way. To me, this is a 63-point wine, a major pass, and not something that I would ever want to put in my mouth again. Sorry. Let's move on, because we need to. Chateau Dindori, 2007 Cab Syrah. This wine rolls in at 15 US bones. Let's give it a rinse. Been hearing some hype about this wine, so I'm excited. Let's see what happens. Cab Syrah blend. The light is beaming in my face, so I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to read what the breakdown of the grape is, and I'm not sure if it's broken down. It's not broken down by the back label, but it might be written here. We'll put it on the website if I can figure it out. Let's give this wine a sniffy sniff. Great color, by the way. Beautiful. Now this shows a lot more potential on the nose, though there is a little oakiness going on. A little oak monster possible in this wine. I'm getting a little bit of that oak cedar box, you know, kind of thing going on, but there's a nice fruit component on the nose. This smells a lot more classic, where the first red, clearly right off the bat on the nose got me scared, petrified, a little worried even. This wine absolutely positively smells classic to me. This is smells I've smelt before. Definitely the Cabernet coming through, bright blackberries coming through, a little black cherry component on the nose. Yeah, very nice nose. Let's give it a whirl. If you like black licorice, I'm talking the real stuff, not the Twizzlers crap we buy in the stores. But if you like black licorice, this is a wine for you. Loaded, explosive fruit with black licorice. This is a fruit bomb, my friends. A hair too oaky for my palate. But remember, it has nothing to do with me. It's about your palate and trying different things. And I'm going to tell you right now, based on the American palate, the stuff you're drinking every day, this is a wine that is going to absolutely appeal to you. It's got the oak, it's also got the black fruit, It's got the polish. I get a little vanilla action on the mid palate. The finish is long. As I keep yapping to you in front of all these awesome people, the wine still tastes good in my mouth. I like it. This, my friends, this is the potential of this country. And this is in a different place, and I have to break down that for you on a different episode, but this is in a different place that's been traditional to making Indian wine. And now this has me a little curious, because if they can make this kind of quality wine, there is density in this wine. There is structure. It is over oaked, in my opinion. It needs to calm down for me. I think there might be a little 1 and 2 year old oak thing going on here. I'd like to see this toned down, made a little bit more like Bordeaux-like instead of maybe Shiraz-like. Maybe tone it down, work with it. But if you want to talk about raw potential, raw quality of grape, I promise you, all of you, brown paper bag in a blind tasting, nobody's raising their hand and saying, ooh, 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 this is India. No chance, no way. This has structure, balance, and complete essence of terroir that's only hidden by a little oak. I promise you, if we could get the oak monster a little bit out of this equation, this could become a very dangerous wine. For a wine that's suggested at 15 US bones, this wine has complete potential to make some noise, even headways in the US market. To me, this wine is an 88-point wine, which I gotta tell you right now, with a little work and a little bit more selectiveness and a little less oak, could get very dangerous very quickly. And like Cloudy Bay did in New Zealand by single-handedly, one wine, building an entire country's infrastructure of demand in the US, wines like this, and probably a bunch more out there that we don't even know about yet, have the potential to put this fabulous, promise, I've been here now, fabulous country on the map. But it's gonna take work, effort, and a little hard struggle politically to get it in the right place. But I think wines like this show massive potential. I love the structure. I like it so much, I'm gonna take another sippy sip. You know what it was? You know why I went back to it? I was looking for that other flavor. And I think there's a little mulberry thing going on here, maybe a black raspberry thing. A lot of dimension of fruit. A very easy drinking, perfect Wednesday night pizza wine, and $15 suggested retail. A little work, a little beating up on the suppliers. You get this wine, God forbid, anywhere in that $12 range, and this is a screaming value. Question of the day. How happy are you for me that I'm in India and the New York Jets have scored one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time? Answer, leave a comment. I will be home soon and back in the Thunder saddle. I miss you guys. Because you, with a little bit of me, we're changing the wine world, whether they like it or not.